Do you struggle with stubborn body fat? Do you want to know how to get rid of it, or if it's even possible? Well, keep on watching because today I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to know about stubborn body fat. Let's go. Hi, I'm Aleksa, Sports Dietitian and Nutrition Coach. Welcome back to my channel. Great to have you here. But before we get into today's video, remember to subscribe and also ring that bell. This ensures that you know exactly when I drop a new video. As I mentioned, today I'm going to be exploring the topic of stubborn body fat. So if you resonate with this or it's something that you want to learn about, well, you clicked the right video. Nice work. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into it. One of the biggest frustrations with athletes who are working on their body composition is the frustration around getting rid of stubborn body fat, usually in a specific area on the body, which obviously varies from athlete to athlete, and it's not the same for each and every person. For example, a very common one that I've heard over the years is getting rid of stubborn body fat on the lower ab area. Look, it's safe to say that many athletes pursue leanness, and this can obviously lead to an over-obsession around their body fat levels and around specific areas of the body and getting rid of, even the smallest amount of excess body fat. And whether losing that excess body fat is going to actually translate, to better health or better performance, well, that's arguable. But hey, I don't know your situation specifically, so today is all about exploring this topic, seeing exactly what is and what is not, and learning if it's even possible to get rid of the kind of stubborn body fat, as people call it. Well, I'm about to tell you the blunt truth around this, and hopefully it's something that's going to change your perspective, but also kind of adjust the way that you view body composition and maybe make you view it all in a more healthy, balanced way. I want you to have a more balanced and healthy view of your physique. It's just honestly saying that as a sports dietitian, I really want for any athletes who come and seek my help. But firstly, we need to address spot reduction. Spot reduction is simply when someone wants to lose body fat in a very specific area in the body. In the sake of stubborn body fat, it could be, say, an athlete is happy with their overall leanness, their overall physique they're fine with, but they want to lose a bit of body fat around a specific area, like I mentioned before, lower ab area, as an example. This is honestly how stubborn body fat frustrations manifest. But can you spot reduce? No, you can't. So with that out of the way, let's keep on going. So it brings us to the big question. Can you actually get rid of stubborn body fat? And this question is asked by many athletes who are wondering, can they get rid of that excess body fat that's left over? Or is it impossible? The answer is not as simple as you may think, because the answer is yes, but it depends. See, technically, you can do that. Okay, technically, we can get rid of any stubborn body fat that's left over, because the levels of leanness that we as humans can achieve is quite significant. However, for many, the effort, the strictness, and the physiological impacts that it can have of pursuing such a goal can obviously outweigh any benefits that achieving that goal would have. To put it simply, it may not be worth it, nor advisable. Because the truth is that genetics also plays a big part in how lean we get and how easily we can get lean. This would obviously impact in terms of specific areas of the body, how lean we can get in those specific areas of the body before we start pushing that physiological barrier. It also influences how easily we can lose weight and how easily we can gain weight too. But the big thing is that it really does influence the level of leanness we can achieve, especially in specific areas of the body, before we get to the negative impacts of pursuing a body fat result. In essence, before it impacts our health and our physiology. And this is okay. You are not defined by how lean you are. Leanness is not as important as athletes tend to think it is. And yes, I know it's important in some sports, but it will never take precedence over being well-fueled and healthy. Remember that. So to make a long story short, the answer is yes, you can get rid of stubborn body fat eventually, but whether or not it's worth it will be the bigger and more important question to ask. And by the way, I'm talking about situations where athletes are still pretty lean already, but they're just trying to get rid of that extra body fat, the extra stubborn body fat as they put it. I can tell you that pushing beyond those limits, and once you're already lean and trying to get to even more leaner levels for the sake of being lean, okay, or being a lean machine or whatever you want to call it, may very well require you to go beyond your usual limits to achieve that result. This won't be fun. This will potentially make you moody. And in many cases, it's also not sustainable. That's why even bodybuilders, the athlete example of getting truly lean, they're never lean all year long. Okay, they never are. Look at them during the off season. Okay, they got a lot more body fat on them because being lean is not sustainable long term. And that's not what athletes should be striving for. Despite what the magazines out there show you, despite the fact that we see these athletes at their peak when they're performing, when they're competing in their own competition, that's not what the reality is year long. Trust me on this. You need to ask yourself, if I'm pursuing this level of leanness, what is the cost? Okay, so now you know that technically you can get rid of stubborn body fat even if you're genetically predisposed to having more body fat in certain areas of the body. It's technically possible if you push beyond the limits, even though it's going to be unhealthy, unsustainable, unpractical, and not for your own benefit. Again, keep in mind this is not a specific advice for you. I'll have to say it again, but this is all general in nature to give you a perspective and give you the information you need to know about stubborn body fat. But understand your situation can be individual, and without getting a sports dietitian to help you personally, it's really hard to get you the right kind of advice to help you along the way. But all that aside, maybe what you're thinking right now is, okay, Aleksa, I understand. I can technically lose it. It might not be for my benefit. It might be pushing physiological boundaries or whatever it may be. But I still want to know, how would I actually be able to lose the extra bit of body fat that's just annoying me?
You want answers!
I want the truth!
Well, honestly, the answer is not going to be, anything special, anything sexy, because at the end of the day, it comes down to the basics of fat loss. You need to maintain a consistent caloric deficit in the long term. And so you can use this in a different example. See, not always will it be a case of an athlete being already pretty lean and they want to just be that extra bit of lean. Sometimes it's someone like, just trying to lose weight and they know that they have to get rid of some body weight. They're not necessarily to the level of leanness that's even just normal for an athlete, but they hit a plateau, okay? They can't progress any further. And in this situation, this is when your body's actually adapting to a new maintenance calories. And when this happens, it may seem like, the extra body fat is all stubborn, it's not wanting to get rid of. The truth is, you just need to change your strategy. Or it might be that you're not adhering to it as well as before. I couldn't tell you how many times this has happened with athletes when they come and see me, is you realize that, wait, you're just not adhering to the plan. Over time, you've been deviating from the plan a bit. And that level of inconsistency has led to the body fat not going down. Either way, the situation is that you just have to still be in a caloric deficit. So no matter what stubborn body fat you have, we as humans can technically get rid of it. Now, whether it's, like I said, whether it's healthy, that's a whole different story. Whether you should be doing it, whether it's going to be impacting you in a very negative way, that's a different story. But you can technically get rid of it by consistently being in a caloric deficit. And if you're thinking, but I was in a caloric deficit and I still couldn't really get rid of this body fat, it's probably because your caloric deficit was no longer a caloric deficit and therefore you need to go beyond. Therefore, why I discourage that with a lot of athletes, going beyond a certain limit, and why I encourage you to see a sports dietitian so they can actually take out the guesswork from your plan and tell you exactly what's what. But that aside, let's say it's not a case of you pushing the limits. It could be that you just have to adjust or that you're not adhering to it as well. But it still comes down to having a caloric deficit. Even though that topic in itself, while simple, there's a lot of different factors that influences you in the situation. And this is another reason why I don't always encourage going that extra bit of, extra mile to get that extra bit of lean when it might not actually translate to health or performance, is because many athletes in the first place don't actually eat enough calories. So if you already hit a caloric plateau, so to speak, and if beyond that, you're not going to be eating enough calories, then you're kind of arguing, okay, am I going to be underfueled as an athlete? Just in some things you have to consider. Many athletes do this. They pursue leanness, despite the fact that it's going to impact them negatively. Even though in many cases it's going to be an unsustainable endeavor, or unhealthy, or not benefiting their performance, or honestly, all three. So yes, you can get rid of stubborn body fat, whatever the definition for you specifically is. The process involves the basics of fat loss, but first and foremost, you have to ask yourself two things. Why and should I? Why am I wanting this? And should I even do it? So there you go. Now you know the truth about stubborn body fat, whether or not you can actually lose it, and then if you are trying to lose it, how to do so. So what I want to know now is in the comments, drop a comment below and tell me, what is your biggest obstacle or obstacles when trying to transform your physique? Let me know in the comments below. I'll be curious to hear what's stopping you. And of course, if you want a sports dietitian to work with you to help you with this and do it the right way so that you don't have to worry about, am I getting too lean? Am I at the right level of leanness? Am I doing the right amount of calories? Am I doing the right plan? I'll take out all that guesswork by working with you as your personal one-on-one sports dietitian in my 90-day Macro Sherpa program. So if you're keen to get some help with your nutrition, if you're keen to level up and become a better field athlete that has better performance on the field, well, reach out to me, okay? Send me an email at aleksa@theclimbdietitian.com.au and just say the word peak and I'll know what you're talking about. Otherwise, there is an application link in the description notes below. If you're ready to go, if you're ready to apply, you just want to see if this is the right fit for you, apply now, hop on a call and see where we go to from there. But yeah, look forward to talking to you. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. Like this video if it's been helpful in leveling up your nutrition knowledge. Stay classy. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.